mind, let me welcome to the stage Ishan Singh. He is a first-year majoring in electrical engineering, and he brings to this discipline a rather unusual skill set honed during the COVID lockdown. Welcome, Ishan.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I might, but it's okay.
You know where it is.
Okay, hey guys. My name is Ishan Singh. I'm a freshman in electrical and computer engineering. I just started though, so not much to say there, but I think I'm prepared for it. My last year of high school was very interesting because it was on Zoom. And it took teachers a bit of time to figure out how to not let random people like your mom into the classroom. Or how to mute that one annoying kid who sounded like he was eating the mic. Yeah, it was fun, but I don't think we learned anything. Like for our chemistry final, I was asked questions like, what would you do if you accidentally poured acid on your hands while you're in the lab? I was like, hold on, what lab? I have been stuck in this house for over a year, and the closest thing I've done to being in a chemistry lab is mix shampoos in the shower. It wasn't just me though. My younger brother was worse. This one time, I had this unfortunate task of teaching him what marsupials are. Simple enough, right? Everyone knows what marsupials are. I'll just explain it. They are animals who carry babies on their bodies in pouches, like kangaroos and koalas, right? So I'm teaching him in the living room. My mother was sitting next to us, just in case we got into a brutal bloodbath. A usual occurrence. A usual occurrence due to being confined in a household with people you love the most, but like the least. So I'm teaching him, and it took me about half an hour, and I taught him. And then, as a final question, I asked him, name some marsupials. And he just looks up at me very simply and goes, a kangaroo, and his wife, and his daughter, and his other daughter. Yeah, that was a lot. Actually, I think I did learn one thing. I learned all about my neighbors. Not that I wanted to, but they were being pretty loud and there wasn't much to do. My house was right next to this park. It was a pretty nice open space surrounded by trees, and it was pretty lively all the time. But then COVID-19 hit peak, and people were scared to even go out and get groceries. Naturally, the park was empty, except this one little kid named Sam. Sam is this skinny little 7-year-old kid who is an absolute menace to the society. Sam is the kid who would kick the neighbor's cat, throw rocks at passing cars, or push the blind old man. This one time, I saw Sam throw a big water jug, on another kid. The kid ran away crying, and Sam just looked at the jug as though this was his first failed murder attempt. Yeah, those days during COVID were hard to fill. I watched a lot of movies, and luckily, I picked up some skills. This one night, I was watching The Conjuring at like 1 in the morning, and for those of you who may not have watched it, in the final scene of the movie, the protagonists are trying to exorcise this little kid who is sitting on a wooden chair, is bound by metal chains, and is covered with a white sheet. And the kid is screaming, and the scene is set in this basement, and on the windows of this basement there are pigeons flying into. I'm watching this scene in my room, the curtains are drawn closed, lights are turned off, the scene is getting intense, and then suddenly I hear a dull thud on my window. Instantly I thought, hell no. Not happening with me. And like any man would, I hid under the sheets and started chanting God's name until I fell asleep. The next day, I was embarrassed. I was like, I will finish the movie tonight. So at midnight, I picked up where I left off, and the kid is screaming, the pigeons are banging into the windows, and then I heard it again, a dull thud on my window. I was like, what's up? And so this time, I was trying to be brave, and so I opened the windows. And as soon as I opened the window, something hit my head. A pigeon? No, it was a tennis ball. A tennis ball? Tennis ball? I looked out of the window, and in the street I see Sam. Sam is just standing there with his hands raised as though expecting to catch the ball, which is now bouncing around in my room. And then Sam just looked me straight in the eye and laughed. This little kid standing in the middle of the street, in the middle of the night, just laughing. I did the only logical thing I could think of. I bought a wooden chair, got some metal chains, and a white sheet. And I'm going to take the ghost out of him tonight. So, I'm skilled at teaching kids about marsupials and taking ghosts out of kids. I'm definitely prepared for college.
We're going to save the Q&A.